That makes sense. One of the things I picked up on what you just said is it sounds like when you engage with the governments, it's an attempt to have a more long-term, sustainable, real strategic driven way to improve people's lives, right? So there's a development aspect of it. And you put it the right way as well. There's a sort of humanitarian emergency, we need to drop food, but there's also a longer term sort of, turning the ship around and making sure that it's going in the right direction as opposed to just the immediate quick spurt, which is what most people have in terms of a conception regarding nonprofits, right? People go in there, you think of Sudan or places that are really bad, and people go in there and just drop food. But there's a whole development aspect of it as well, which is the sustainable, long-term, strategic, government engaging portion of things. Why do you think there is that misconception out there that it's mostly just humanitarian and just let's go drop food and whatnot? Is that because that's what we see on the TV and, the kid on, the fly on their face and the typical imagery that we get from the sector?
Absolutely. It's hugely salient. I mean, it was fascinating. I was out in Ethiopia recently, and my image of Ethiopia prior to going had been set by the famine. Clearly it was a defining image of a generation. And you get there and it's incredibly lush, beautiful agricultural lands. And, most because of population growth, actually the majority of Ethiopians have been born after the famine. And yet, what is it? I don't know the exact number, 25 years later? I want to say that's still the memory we have. So I think those are incredibly powerful images. They're very heavily marketed. And for retail philanthropy, you are my personal giving. They're going to be the images that get the most donations. And not unreasonably so. The development game's tough, and it's littered with a lot of failures. Like the classic image is one of a well that is drilled, and then sort of 6-9 months later is already rusted up or dry. So it requires a sustained focus of attention and resources and an acceptance that not every project will go well. And governments are better placed than individual retail givers usually for achieving that. Now, there are obviously notable exceptions. The Gates Foundation, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, to give it its full title, clearly are focused very squarely, especially in health, but across a number of sectors, in trying to make long-term, permanent, sustained changes. And, certainly, a number of foundations, such as the one I work for, are similarly focused in having a long-term impact.